Hey guys, it's Sam, CME45 here, doing another video about the Iran war. Now obviously, the war going on has had a major impact on all of our lives. The volatility of it plays with the stock market and investing in general, but it also influences the price of oil greatly. Where I live personally, the gas prices have skyrocketed all the way up to $4.50 at one point and are currently hovering around $3.80 to $3.90. As someone living with a tight budget, it can be difficult to manage all these expenses, especially for someone like me who's just starting to stack silver and stuff. Furthermore, fear-mongering done by the government is the same old story that they try to tell us time and time again. It's always, nuclear weapons. We need to prevent them from getting nuclear weapons. Weapons of mass destruction. What makes it worse is that the fact that Trump campaigned on the fact that he wants no new wars. No new wars. We want no new wars. Now, obviously, politicians are known for being chronic liars. However, one of Trump's greatest qualities is that he's an honest American, with the emphasis being on the honest. Now, everyone knows this is obviously not true, but the average Trump supporter believes every word he says. To make this video more concise, I'll divide it up into 4 sections. The start of the war, Trump's incompetence towards the war, the ceasefire bogus that's been going on, and the future of the war. The future of the war. Now, the first move of the war was actually not through violence, but through economic means. The US Department of the Treasury actually imposed about 30 sanctions on Iran's oil shipping network. Now, these sanctions were placed on individuals, entities, vessels, pretty much whatever. Now, these sanctions were actually soon followed by military action, specifically airstrikes that were launched against Tehran by the US and Israel. Now, these airstrikes were successful in killing the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, as well as other Iranian officials. Iran then retaliated with its own missiles on US bases and allied countries, as well as closing the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz being closed, is the primary influence on why gas is so expensive. Now, this interaction served as the official, non-official start to the war. Was the US successful in what it was trying to set out to do in killing Iran's leader? Sure. However, the reason for the strikes was silly. I mean, Israel and US believed that Iran was quickly enriching uranium and using it to build weapons of mass destruction. Now, on a basic level, it might make sense that we would not want Iran to have nuclear weapons, but think about it like this. North Korea, Russia, China, Israel, they all have nuclear weapons already. What threat could Iran pose that they don't already pose? I mean, let's be so for real. Another issue is that in starting the war, Trump essentially united all Iranians under the new leadership, which will allow Iran to develop the nuclear weapons even faster. Before Trump had striked, Iran was going through almost a civil war. They were going to overthrow their leader by themselves. Instead, he made them all unite together. Obviously, the strikes set back their plans, but once Iran can get it once, they can get it again. So ultimately, I think in the end, it will be a mistake if they were getting weapons of mass destruction to begin with. But this is just the start of the war. The rest of the war, I believe, highlights there is much to talk about here, so I'll start with this. It's very obvious that this interaction could have been managed much better than how it was already managed. The first issue is that Trump faced was his confidence with nothing to back it up. On March 6, Trump wrote, "There will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender." Now, with hindsight, it's easy to see that this statement was completely idiotic in a way. Trump not only foolishly believed that Iran would not be able to get a leader that was against him, but he also did not believe that he would be able to have so many allies. Furthermore, he foolishly believed that his scare tactics, which had not previously worked on like Colombia or any of the other South American countries, he thought they would work again. To follow this up, Trump said on March 9th that the war is very complete, pretty much. It's pretty much complete. It's completely done. Now, I don't know if y'all know what day it is for you guys, but for me, when I'm filming this, it's June 12th. So that's about 3 months after Trump said that, and the war's still going on. But anyways, it's easy to laugh about how stupid Trump looks when he talks about all this stuff and he makes all these untrue statements. But at the same time, we need to realize that other people are laughing at us as well, and that it makes us look weak, ultimately. It's really sad. Not to mention, most of our relations with other countries have been damaged by Trump in the past too, bar a couple, maybe like Japan. But on the 23rd of March, Trump literally stated that the U.S. was talking to a top person in Iran, and that the Iran called, not him. He very specifically said that Iran was the one calling. Anyways, long story short, this turned out to be a lie. Now, Iran simply said they were just looking at some of the proposals that had been sent their way, and that Trump wasn't really talking to anyone. This one in particular I find funny because it's so stupid. Why would he lie about that? And not only that, for Iran to just come out and prove him wrong so fast is just so funny to me. But even with all this, Trump still obviously wanted a ceasefire. And with all this came a bunch of... The first rejection happened on the 25th of March, which was mediated by Pakistani officials. The plan was a 15-point plan issued by the United States, which entailed to the end of their nuclear program, limits on their missiles, reopening the strait, relief from sanctions, and other things, 11 other things or whatever. Iran obviously rejected this deal, and it's so easy to see why. I mean, first, there's nothing in it for them. They already had their leader killed, and they already had the support from their people to continue, so why would they want that deal? But Iran retaliated with their own deal, the 5-point counter deal or whatever, which entails an end to the attacks, pro-Iran forces being set up in Lebanon and Iraq, future security against more U.S. attacks, reparations for the war, and then recognition of that they were the sovereign ruler over the strait, which would impose, a tax on every single ship that passes through, increasing the price of every single item that passes through there, which is most of the world. Now, the U.S. obviously rejected this deal. The reasons are obvious, with the biggest being losing the strait. Another is just being in an overall worse spot than when the war began. I mean, it would have not only mean the strikes were useless, but the strikes actually set us back. Overall, this all came to a climax when Trump literally threatened to nuke Iran. I mean, he literally tweeted, "A whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back." Well, he's not explicitly saying he was going to launch nukes. I mean, that's pretty much the closest you can get to launching nukes without just launching them. Now, he tweeted that on the night of April 7th, and on April 8th, he entered a 2-week ceasefire. Now, neither side actually got what they wanted in the ceasefire, but, if nukes aren't launched, I guess that's a positive. It's something. But neither side got what they wanted in the end. And after not getting what he wanted and the 2 weeks not passing, Iran not budging on anything, he extended it indefinitely. This attempt to scare the Iranians into a ceasefire, while successful, was way too far. Threatening nuclear bombs is no joke, and I don't think there's been a time in my life where I remember any other president doing that. And obviously, a nuclear war would mean a certain collapse of society. Let's be for real. But ironically, both sides have just violated the ceasefire numerous times. I mean, they're constantly striking each other. I see news literally multiple times a week talking about ceasefires and more strikes and more ceasefires. Everyone's putting up a guise that they want to end the conflict, but no one actually wants to do it. Everyone's too stubborn. Now, I mean, obviously people could still see the strikes, so that's what led to all those tweets where Trump is constantly saying the ceasefire is happening, the end of the war is here, yada yada. But ultimately, one thing that's uncertain is Now, Iran obviously wants hostilities against it and its proxies to end, including, most importantly, the U.S. blockade of the strait, which is kind of, going against their plan. They want to be sovereign over it, and the U.S. is trying to prevent that. But in my opinion, one of the things I'm most worried about is that they're asking for $300 billion in reparations. for the war efforts. Now, Trump absolutely needs to find a way not to pay this, because not only does this hurt the American people, and not only does it add to the national debt, but it also goes against the thing he was making fun of Biden for. Trump was constantly complaining about the billions of dollars that Biden was sending over to Ukraine. While I agree with Trump, I didn't want those money to be sent either. At least there was a good purpose for that money. I mean, it was helping a country we were allied with that was, in NATO or wanted to join NATO. This is just stupid. Not only is that money coming out of our account, I mean, it sets us in a place that was worse than we were at before. But ironically, that would probably devalue the dollar a little bit, making, my silver and gold and all other precious metals worth a little money, but it's bad either way. The whole situation is bad, and Trump needs to get someone who knows what he's doing, or she's doing, it's 2026, he or she's doing, to handle the situation, because, as things stand now, no one can say, well, the war will end. No one can say, well, prices will return back to normal, if they'll even return back to normal. But all I know is that my wallet wants to know. Everyone else wants to know. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know if you want me to make more political content or stuff like that. Politics is one of my favorite content. But anyways, see you guys.